This thing is froze. All right. This Just So You Know moment is brought to you by Dr. LaShonda Jackson-Dean and Jackson-Dean Investments. Just so you know, Dr. Jackson-Dean, the Pen Slayer, says, I am a speaker, a life and success strategist, an author, and I am here tonight for Just So You Know moments with a twist. So, as you can see, we're already starting off with some technical difficulties, but that's okay. I want to thank everyone that's on the live tonight. Although I can't see you, I can't see anything that's going on my personal page because my computer is acting up again. It's acting a little crazy. So we're going to keep on rolling with it anyway. But just so you know, I inspire, empower, and coach others to be the best versions of themselves. Welcome to Just So You Know Moments with a Twist. I'm your host, Dr. LaShonda Jackson-Dean. Just so you know, last week we started our 3-part series on So a Man Thinks. We started last week with the victory over the temptation to quit. So while we wait for everyone to get online to get settled and hopefully do a recap over the victory over the temptation to quit. So just so you know, Dr. Jackson-Dean, the Pen Slayer, says, I have found myself in situations where I have just thrown my hands up in the air and said, forget it. Maybe tonight, huh? No, not tonight. I ain't in a quitting mood tonight. And I have tried and I've tried and I've cried and I've cried to the point I felt that there was nothing, absolutely nothing else I could do. What I didn't realize at that moment was I was in the perfect position for success. I know you said, You tried and tried and cried and cried and couldn't do anything, but you were in the perfect position for success? Yes, I was in the perfect position for success because I had finally come to the realization, the revelation, that what all that I could do, I had done it. And I had to stop trying to do it alone. Right? I had to finally realize that I needed to take my hands off the situations that I was dealing with and let God handle it. I finally realized that as long as I was doing my part, and when it came to the parts that I couldn't do, God would handle the rest. I finally realized that. Power over fear and anxiety. So my disclaimer, as we always know, if anything should happen, I fall out this chair, the computer fall off the table, or it just doesn't work, we're just going to keep rolling right through this bad boy like it never happened. If you can't see me and you want to see me, you can go over to my fan page, Dr. LaShonda Jackson-Dean on Facebook. And it's showing there because I can see that it's showing. But it's just not showing on my personal page. So, on the Just So You Know moment with a twist, we aim to detect and correct. Detect and correct. So let's get started. I read today that July is Minority Mental Health Month. I had no idea. Did you know that July is Minority Mental Health Month? So just so you know, every day of every month is dedicated to my mental health, okay? But at any rate, check on your loved ones who need a mental health check and make sure that they're all right, okay? Everything all together. Everything is just working out great for them. We see them strutting with a beautiful palette of makeup on their faces. Their crown and hair and their locks are flowing and blowing in the wind, and they talk and they walk with such influence. And when they speak, people gravitate to them because they always speak about positive and uplifting and encouraging things. Don't you just love those people? These impressions can cause us to believe that everything that just must be perfect in their lives, full of cotton candy and Starburst and peach soda and chocolate chip cookies, just everything that you could think of and you want to have, but not gain an ounce of weight. That's what their life must be like. So what if I told you that those same people deal with anxiety and fear too? I know you're thinking, no, how could they? They don't look like someone who has the burden of anxiety and fear. The reason they don't look like what you think anxiety and fear should look like is because many of us have placed a face on what we think anxiety and fear should look like. It's believed that it's either one of the two or both should look like that's what we think anxiety and fear looks like. The sad thing is that most people are not responsive to things that don't look like what they think they should look like. Things that they have pictured it should look like. If it doesn't look like that, they're not responsive to it. A thing or a feeling is still a thing whether or not it looks the way you pictured it in your mind or the way that you think that it should look. I remember going swimming as a child and get out in the water and look good in the water because it looked like I really could swim and really knew what I was doing and couldn't swim a lick. I looked so good just playing around in the water that when I was drowning, no one was responsive because I looked like I knew what I was doing. And the whole time I was drowning. Luckily, someone paid attention and pulled me out the water. Praise God. People seem to believe that you're not hurt unless you're bleeding, and you're not sad unless you're crying. Sometimes the most painful moments in our lives are ones that people can't see. When you find yourself in that position and no one can hear your silent cries because they're not in tune to your feelings and you don't look like what they think someone's sad or having anxiety or fearful or something should look like. It gets to the point where you're just simply maintaining. You are grinning and just bearing it. Is there anybody on the line that grins and bears a lot of things? Anyone? No one really knows how you feel on the inside. No one understands how your heart weeps and how your soul cries out. You cannot look at someone and know for sure that they have anxiety or they're fearful or something. You can't determine their pain level just by the way that they look. I want to read you something in my book, Level Up to Mindfulness. It says, Anxiety can present physical symptoms such as high blood pressure, diabetes, chest pains, depression, insomnia, and loss of energy. All of these symptoms can have adverse effects on your blood pressure, heart rate, immune system, and your digestive system. Whereas one person may handle stress and anxiety with finesse, anxiety may drive another person insane. What one may not find extremely stressful or have anxiety behind, another person's level may register off the scale. Men and women handle it differently. So trust me, it's not always obvious. Look closer. You are now viewing the face of anxiety and what fear looks like. Although I may look and sound as if everything is great, I will be honest with you and tell you that there was a time in my life when it wasn't. It wasn't great at all. I suffered from anxiety and fear of a lot of things. In that not so great time, I didn't look or feel as if things would get any better. But the funny thing about that is that I had the same face. The same face that I have now. So no one really knew what I was going through because I didn't look any different. That's a matter of handling. I had the same face because I learned how to manage my anxiety and my fears. And so can you. The first step is gaining power over your anxiety and your fears is to acknowledge it. That's your first step. If you want to gain power over your anxiety and your fears, you have to acknowledge it. Take time to pay attention to yourself, your body, your spirit, and what it's telling you. Recognize what or who exactly is causing your anxiety and your fear. Step number 2. Once you have stated the problem, then see if there's something that you can personally do to alleviate the issue. I think you're thinking, no, I think you should get rid of the problem. But no, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm telling you, and I tell you again, no. You want to alleviate the issues because the problem is not necessarily a problem. It's more of a warning or an alert. The issues are how you respond to the threat, which is the warning and the alert. Matthew 6:34 says, "Therefore, do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for today is its own trouble." So what it's saying, hey, Mika Diamond, thank you. What it means is that you have enough troubles that you're dealing with today that you don't have to worry about what's happening tomorrow. It also means that on one day, at one time, manage it, one day at a time. Don't heap all of today's issues and tomorrow's issues on one plate. Handle them one day at a time. My husband, Big Daddy, he always says, it's like borrowing worry from another day when that worry just might not be there. And that makes a lot of sense. You worry about something a day, 2 days, a week later, and when you finally make it to that day, a week later, it doesn't even exist. So now you ruin the day, your present day, worrying about something in the future. So take it one day at a time. So the issues are, I feel sad, I'm hurt, I'm upset when I have to deal with the problem. So now you understand why I separated the problem and the issues from the problem. So now you're probably thinking, so the quickest thing to do is just to get rid of the problem. Well, no. Just so you know, the problem never goes away. It only changes positions. The position may be who, what, when, or where. But you deal with the same problem. It just changes from station to station or person to person. So what you need to do and what your goal is to learn how to handle the issues that come from the problem. Right? Because if you know how to handle the issues, then when the problem comes around again, you'll know how to tackle that problem. Because like I said, the problem is going to always be there. So when you have to deal with the problem and when you realize that your mood or your demeanor is changing when that problem comes into play, handle the issues. Work on the issue because the problem is always going to be there. Step number 3. What is about this problem that causes you to be upset? Does it make you feel as if this problem or this person is demeaning? Does being around the problem or this person or this place remind you of something negative that happened to you? Does being around this person, place, or thing remind you of something that you should have been doing, but you're not? Just so you know, that's your conscience. That's your conscience. That's a whole nother issue right there. If you go to a place and you're around somebody and it starts to irk your spirit, but you know it's irking your spirit because you see something that you should have been doing, you should have already done, or you should be doing right now, but this is bothering you now, that's your conscience. But anywho, on that, I'm going to drink a little water on you here, clear my throat. So pay attention to how you feel when you come around a problem, okay? Don't be afraid to remove yourself from any situation or from around anyone that's not conducive to your growth. If they're not helping you to succeed, if they're not helping you to move forward, I can't say that that's the best company that for you to be in. Get with something or somebody or some people or some places that's going to help you be more conducive in your growth. Proverbs 12:25 says, anxiety in a man's heart weighs it down. And that's exactly how you feel when you have anxiety. You feel weighted down. 1 Peter 5-7 says, humble yourself, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that at the proper time he may exalt you, casting all your anxieties on him, because he cares for you. If a situation, person, place, or thing causes your vibration to be off or turn negative, you need to remove yourself from the situation. What that song said, don't stop my vibe, right? Don't stop my vibe. Remove yourself from situations and people and places that don't vibe on the same frequency as you do. Your frequency is off for a reason. Pay attention. Listen and understand that everyone won't be on the same bandwidth of frequency, and that's okay, because you won't be on everyone else's frequency either. Who you are supposed to be with, they will be there. And who you're not supposed to be with, they won't. Don't even worry about it. Number 6, if you can't manage your anxiety and your fears alone, please seek professional help. Use these steps that I introduced to you to take your life back from anxiety and fear. Psalms 27:1 says, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" Remember, fear is just an emotional response. If you recall back a few episodes, I coach you on how not to be led by your emotions. Fear is false evidence appearing real. FEAR. False evidence appearing real. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, God gave us the spirit, not the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-control. You are powerful. So walk, move, and talk in your power. Don't get discouraged if your power don't seem as powerful as someone else's. Just keep working on yourself and your power will increase. Let's go to our email here. Dear Dr. Jackson-Dean, just so you know, first of all, I want to thank you, Dr. Jackson-Dean, for your episode the other night on purpose. I have been sitting on my purpose and have found myself in the cage with the lion. Although I know my current placement is a threat to my life, God has been merciful enough to keep me safe. You see, I have been married to my husband for 13 years, and I know it has been time for me to leave. But I can't because at one time he was a good husband, and I fear maybe I did something to turn him into a bad one. I just don't know what. But I am thankful for your show on purpose because now I have the strength to move forward with what God has plans for my life. And if it means move on without my husband, then so be it. I really do love him and pray he changes. Do you think it's possible? Please pray for me, my husband, and our marriage. Connie K from Jasper, Texas. Jasper's in the house, y'all. Hello, Miss Connie. Thank you for writing in. We appreciate you so much. In regards to your email, and your question was, do I think it's possible that your husband can change? Yes, I do. I do believe that your husband can change. Anybody could change. But they have to be willing to change. And so what I would recommend that you do is that you and your husband need to decide that if this marriage is really is something that you want, that you both want, not just you, but does he want it as well? And if you both still want this marriage, I would recommend that y'all go and see a counselor and get some professional help about the situations that's going on with your marriage. Now, with that being said, I also read in between the lines here where you're saying that you're in the cage with the lion. So you didn't really expound on how far of a threat that you are and a threat for a situation that you are. But if you're in a situation where you are being harmed, and that's mentally or physically, get out. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to have yourself torn down every day mentally or physically. Get out and get to know yourself. Build yourself. Now, if the situation is that you feel like maybe this is a mutual thing or whatever that's going on, I really recommend that you get some professional help. And y'all go and sit and y'all talk out your situation and be able to talk with each other with a neutral third party so that it doesn't appear that anybody is taking sides with one or the other. And you need to concentrate on what it takes in order for your marriage to be, like you said, where it was, or even better. I'm going to pray that your marriage is better. Not like it was, not the way it is, but much better. But I want it to be better with God, with Jesus holding you and leading you both on your way. So I'm going to pray for both of you as well as your marriage, okay? Thank you so much for writing in. And if at any point you feel like you want to talk to me, please give me a call. Thank you. So we have special announcements. Our special announcement for tonight is, so I know y'all been looking at my website, www.drlashondajackson-Dean.com. Well, just so you know, thanks to Choice One, my website has been upgraded and is up and ready for you to visit. Just for tonight, I'm going to have a new URL, and it's www.drlashondajackson-Dean.com. And I want to thank my beautiful sisters, Sister Sonia Lowe and Miss Mika Diamond, and my handsome brothers, Mr. Pastor Officer Bradford Lowe and Mr. Anthony Hall with Media Hall. I would also like to thank my dear friend, Michael what is his name? Politowski. How about that? Michael Politowski, for working with me in my Facebook Lives. He is so wonderful and so patient. If you need someone to help you with your websites and your Facebook Live, call these people and let them help you. Sometimes you just can't do it by yourself. Sometimes you need someone who knows what they're doing to put their hands on it and either show you how to do it or do it for you. Sometimes you get so busy where you can't even do it. So you have to let somebody else do it. But one thing I do know, all of them make me look better. And I am so appreciative to them both, to all three of them, all 4 or 5, all 5 of them. Thank y'all so much. So this is the conclusion of our episode of this week. So a man thinks, power over anxiety and fear. Please join me next week at 8 p.m. on Facebook Live every Wednesday for another episode. For more information on Dr. LaShonda Jackson-Dean, the services and the books that I offer, visit me online at www.drlashondajacksondean.com. See you next week for another episode of Just So You Know Moments with a Twist. Bye.